Are we filming? Yes, we are. Welcome to another video. This is another review, and it's a review of this. This is an English-made personal organiser, if you like. I'm never sure. Sometimes I refer to these as personal organisers, but quite often I refer to them as binders. It is what it is. It's got some rings, just like a filofax, for instance, and the quality of this is absolutely superb. But there is, as we say in the UK, a fly in the ointment, a very, very big fly that makes this almost unusable. But let me start with the good, and then I'll give you the bad at the end. So this was made by. Let me just first of all, let's just compare the size. So this is like a mini size binder. I just want to compare it with my Plotter Mini 5, which many of you know is a little bit narrower than a standard size, if you can call it a mini size, a standard size. So it's a little bit same height, but a little bit wider. This is a more of akin to a normal size mini binder, and you can see that it is again a little bit wider, and obviously the pen loop and the strap. Has this got a pen loop? Yes, it does, but it's an inboard one. And I don't like the inboard ones, as you know. But the strap makes this slightly awkward to retrieve from a pocket because it can snag, But so I'm not a fan of pen loops, but many of you I know love pen loops. If we compare it to, this is a Kensington pocket. So you can see that it's almost as wide as a pocket sized binder, but obviously a lot shorter. So there's the dimensions. I know the first two things I should check is flatability. So let's check the flatability on this, and the flatability is 0, isn't it? It's absolutely 0. Probably for two reasons. One, this is probably just by the stiffness and inflexibility of the leather. It's probably been in a drawer for many years. And also you've got the pocket, the ubiquitous and very useful full width pocket here, which I blow hot and cold over because they're very, very useful. But because of the inherent design, you need this piece of leather to be longer than this piece of leather, so it will wrap round, so there's a greater distance to travel all the way round and go back 180 degrees. It forms this hump here. It forms the hump, the dreaded hump that prevents perfect flatability in most cases. But this was made by a business in England called Peter Yates. Now, Peter Yates, the company is dissolved. They lasted from the 1930s. The 1930s, can you believe that? All the way up to the beginning of this century, the 21st century. It appeared to be a family concern with many members with the same surname. I had to look it up because I wasn't even aware of Peter Yates. But they were based in Walsall. Now, Walsall, effectively in Birmingham, England. Walsall has, and latterly it's obviously declined because a lot of leather goods are no longer made in England. They're made in wherever the wages are cheapest. As we know, I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing. In a good way, it means that things are potentially more affordable. Certainly, that is the case in terms of wages. But Walsall has traditionally been a centre of leather goods production for over 1,000 years. Just think about that, 1,000 years. And I did a video about the history of the area some time ago, where I did some research on the surnames on the electoral roll in the area, and there are many surnames still there now, where the surname is indicative of someone in the leather working trade, tanning or fashioning it, or all the different processes involved in making leather goods. I mean, they're all there. They're all there on the electoral roll, historically and into the present day. So there's a legacy there that can be that is indicative of the 1,000 years plus. And so this is another small business in that area making leather goods, and this is something that was made, I don't know when. I imagine it was made in the 80s when every man and his dog jumped on the bandwagon. They must have seen the filofax boom and thought, do you know what? That's roughly the same as wallets that we make now. Why don't we just make one, stick some rings in there, and then we can also have a piece of the action. So I don't know, but clearly they're no longer in production now. But let me talk about this, because the quality of the workmanship is very, very high here, and they're using Krauss rings, a set of Krauss rings, which actually are in perfect alignment. And you know that I bang on about Krauss rings because I'm a big fan, simply because of their smooth action. Their my perception is, looking under the magnifying glass, is the teeth that align, that close the rings and interlock. The cut, the engineering of those teeth have a I can't really describe it, but the angle is more acute, so they're sharper teeth, so they lock together more ably. And because of those angles, if there is any misalignments, then that alignment disappears, because the depth of the teeth means that they will, say they're there, they will close as they slide into, and as they dock together, as they interlock. Any misalignment or minor misalignment will automatically disappear, and they will interlock. Whereas, shall we say, rings from that are made more cheaply, one of the cost-cutting measures to get them out the factory gates cheaper is those teeth are not cut so well. In fact, they're not really cut at all, and so they're almost like knuckles. And so there's not much, if there is any misalignment, there's not enough depth to the teeth to pull them into line. They just sit there. And obviously the spring, the spring mechanism, the inherent spring mechanism that allows these ring mechanisms to snap shut, can also play a factor if it's not as strong. So there we go. I'm probably going to do a whole thing about ring mechanisms where I don't have the facilities. That's what I'm waiting. I need to get some real good quality photographic images showing these teeth, so that I can actually demonstrate how good these Krauss rings are with the teeth, and how not so good certain other manufacturers are. Okay, with the teeth, and hence the inability of interlocking nicely. But these Krauss rings, very, very nice. They are, I believe, 11 millimeters. I haven't measured them. If it's not 11 millimeters, then I will add something into the description. But I believe they're 11 millimeters. They certainly look it. But the quality of this binder is really, really nice. For a start, it is very rare on a binder to have a 2-position press stud, and the press stud is very, very nice. They probably must have looked at some filofaxes, maybe other binders, and thought, do you know what? Rather than a pressed up popper plastic cap, which may break, we're going to use this method where it's actually just a leather piece overall. And you know what? As we know, many vintage, well, all the vintage filofaxes made in England before a certain date, with the exception of some more modern ones that were made right before production moved abroad. They've got the cap missing, the plastic cap, as we know, and it's an endearing feature. I don't worry about it, but it does make a difference for resale price. If the original cap is still there, then the price can soar. But anyway, I'm digressing again, as I'm inclined to do. So a nice strap. This leather is, as far as I can tell, this leather is. It has some nylon lining, but as far as I can tell, there's definitely no cardboard. This is not one of those binders that is largely made from layers of cardboard and plastic, and then with a thin sliver of leather over the top, and then they stamp on the front real leather, and it's mainly plastic. This is leather, okay? So fair dues, and this is obviously made by a leather manufacturer who was making genuine leather products. Okay, so good for them back in the day. But the stitching is really nice. It's well executed. I am pretty sure that if I handled and used this on a daily basis, it would become more supple. But at the moment, it's probably been stored somewhere and not used for many years. It doesn't look as if it's had much use at all. So this has probably been sitting around for 30 years, maybe more, maybe nearly 40 years. Who knows? But it is what it is. But the leather quality is very, very good, very, very good. It actually says, if I can find it, let's have a look. It says Peter Yates real leather. It's stamped there. Can you see that? Real leather. And then here it says calf, and then handmade in England. So not a nice touch. But this has got features that I would love to see on a modern mini binder or personal organiser, and I haven't seen them anywhere else. Now, this company must conceivably have made wallets which influenced its design of a ring binder, because it has this fold out, and as you can see, the fold out, all these pockets are lined, but if you look at no, that's lined as well. Okay, so it's lined both front and back. So you've got a fold out here with a full length pocket, and then you've got 1, 2, 3 full length pockets there, and then here you've got another full length pocket. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pockets, and then very nicely you've got these 3 card slots. This is probably made in an era when people didn't have 20 credit cards. They perhaps had a bank card and a couple of credit cards and a bus pass. Who knows? But what I like about these is, and I haven't seen this anywhere else, they're at an angle. These slots, which are very, very nicely cut, they're at an angle. And I think that's a really, really clever idea. I've not seen any other binder with card slots at an angle. And if you think about it, when you insert a card slot into any other binder, okay, let's have a look at this one, this Pocket Kensington. You instinctively tilt the card and put them in so that just the corner of the card goes in first, and then you can slide them in. So you're at an angle, but it is a much more elegant design and hand movement to put these in vertically and drop them in. And the very fact that there is an angle here means that the process, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, it's a nicer, more tactile experience inserting cards where the slots are at an angle. So if any designer at any manufacturer of this type of product is looking at this, take note of this. I think this is a very, very clever thing, and I've not seen it anywhere else. And as you designers out there are looking for ways to enhance your product, this is one way of separating yourself from the crowd, as it were, from the manufacturing crowd, because I'm sure that your future customers will perceive diagonal slots like this, or at least at a slant, as a feature to be to aid the inducement to purchase. It's a nice touch. What is surprising is I don't like the inboard pen loop. I really do think it is. I'm not saying it's cheating, but it just looks a bit, naff, really, as we say in the UK. Just cheapening the manufacturing by fitting the pen loop into the hem and resulting in a pen loop that points inwards rather than outwards, which, as many of us know, can potentially interfere with tabs on dividers. Ideally you want this sticking out, not sticking in. Not good, really. Not good. But I can see why certain companies do it, because it's cheap. It's a cheap way of doing it. So let's just do it and hope that no consumers realise that there is a difference between outboards and inboards until they've actually bought it, and then it's not a manufacturing fault, so they're unlikely to return it. I don't know. It is a bugbear of mine, the fact that the pen loop is sewn into the hem. It's a way of making the production costs less, to, in my opinion, the detriment of the user forever and ever and ever, because there's no way you can change this. Once it's done, it is set in stone. But nevertheless, the piece of leather used for the pen loop is actually excellent. It's very, very tight. It's slightly smaller than a filofax version. For instance, this is the same thickness as a filofax pen. There's no way you can get that in there. It's far too tight, but it's actually a single piece of leather. There's no nasty fold over to snag a pen when you insert it. It is what it is. It's very, very good quality. It's just let down, in my opinion, by the design, i.e. fitting it into the sewing it into the hem, which causes a nasty bulge there. Not good. But anyway, there we go. There's one more thing, which is interesting. Okay, on the back there is a zipped pocket. The zip is like another well-known brand's. I nearly said something beginning with F there. Okay. Let me not be too obscure here. Okay, so this is in the same way as my recent purchase of a filofax Malden, where I discovered that the zip was really, you really had to pull it to get it to move. This is bad as well. I wonder whether it says Opti on the zip. I mean, for all I know, that was a very good quality zip, but maybe through lack of use, maybe I could put a little bit of grease or something to lubricate that zip. It'll be all right. It's just at the very top where it kind of locks. But anyway, there we go. But this has a gusset. And I would say, and I always say this, if you have small zip pockets, if you don't have a gusset, they are next to useless. Can I just say that again? If anyone's listening to this and any person just getting ready to design a binder like this, and they say, "Oh, I know, we could enhance the binder by having a zip pocket, but let's save money by not having a gusset," I would say to you, that is folly, pure folly, because you're going to get caught out. Because as soon as people buy the product, they're going to discover one salient point, that the pocket is, and this is the key phrase, next to useless. I'll say that again, next to useless. So buyers out there, if you're looking for a binder that has zipped pockets, make sure as far as you can that it has some kind of gusset. And if it doesn't, think to yourself, do you need a zip pocket? Do you need a product with a zip pocket where you can't really put anything in there other than maybe a bus ticket? I mean, it might be okay for you, but I would say it's a good point, I think, to look for products that have a gusset where there is a zip, because it might make the difference between using the pocket or not using the pocket. But I think this is overall a very nice acquisition. But I'm just getting to the fly in the ointment. This was described as I can't remember what the eBay seller said. Great condition or excellent condition or very good condition. Can't really decide. But there was something that the seller forgot to tell me, and that was, oh my God, it absolutely stinks of tobacco. It's so bad it makes me want to heave, really, really bad. So I cannot put this on a shelf or anywhere near my other binders, because I'm worried that the smell, the appalling smell, will permeate my shelf of my collection of filofaxes. So I've just kept this in a plastic bag under the sink in the kitchen. That's where it belongs. I can't do anything with this. I think I paid about £20 for it, which was quite a lot of money for what it is. But I was just curious. But what am I going to do with this? Well, there's a couple of things that I might do, and that is, this would be a good way of testing out whether I can remove the heavy tobacco smell. I'm minded to put it in a bag full of cat litter for a year and just seal it up in a Tupperware box. Oh, interestingly, the Tupperware company has just gone bust. They've called in the receivers, which is a few weeks ago. Interesting. But I bet we still call plastic boxes Tupperware for forever. However, I'm minded to put this in a box of cat litter to see whether that will draw out the smell over time. But if you have any other suggestions, then please let me know in the comments, because I want to use this as, I've obviously at the moment I've written it off completely, because I cannot possibly sell this. I cannot possibly store it in my house because it stinks. The moral of the story is, if you are buying from an online seller, it is possible, like in this case, that the seller with a binder that stinks of tobacco has no idea that is unacceptable, has no idea that they really need to put a warning, or at least put it in the description that it stinks of tobacco. Obviously, if I had known that, I would not have. I would have just deleted that. I wouldn't have bought it. I could have returned it and got my money back. But to be honest, I even gave the guy good feedback. I didn't give them a negative or a neutral, because life is too short. But I did put in the description. I didn't want to affect his credibility, but I did put in the feedback that good communication, nice products, well packed, fast delivery, but it stinks of tobacco. And the bit where it stinks of tobacco means that everything else is basically a waste of time. But what am I going to do with this? Well, I am going to use it as an exercise in how to get a leather product smelling nice again. So I welcome your input, and if your idea is better than mine, i.e. sticking it in a box, plastic box for a year in amongst cat litter, then I might try your idea, as long as it's not too expensive or outrageous and outlandish. I might try that. So please let me know. There are experts out there, I'm sure. I'm not an expert at this, because I've never ever purchased a binder like this that reeks of tobacco. So a new experience for me. This is going straight back in its plastic bag and put back under the kitchen sink where it belongs, well away from everything else. I'm going to wash my hands now to get the smell of tobacco off my hands. Otherwise my daughter will think I've started smoking again, and I haven't had a cigarette for 18 years, so I'm very proud of that. Having said that, if my physician tells me on Thursday that I've only got 6 months to live, then I'm gonna take up smoking cigars, drinking rum, and having a good time. So I don't know yet, but we'll see. But at the moment, I'm not a smoker and haven't been for a long time. So, the Peter Yates mini size binder with Krauss rings, excellent leather, and a strong smell of tobacco. That is my summary. Thanks very much for watching. Until my next video, goodbye.